Hey screen printers, this video is going to show you how to set up and adjust the Riley Hopkins Jr. press. If this is your second Riley Hopkins press and you have one of the original Riley Hopkins presses, it goes together pretty much the same way. If this is your first Riley Hopkins press, let's show you how to put it together. Very, very simple. We're going to walk through this now in the instructional video. So first of all, we're going to have our arms. These are going to come separate from the press, and your heads are going to be in the uplifted position. You notice your arms are going to be labeled with numbers, 1 to 1, 2 to 2, 3 to 3, 4 to 4, and so forth, depending on how many station arms your press has. You're also going to have your pallets, you're going to have a bag of bolts, and you're going to have your hardware. Attention, Ryan. Probably not going to have your name on it, but everything that you need in your hardware bin. Your pallets are going to be separate. Here are the tools you need to put your Hopkins Jr. press together. First of all, you need some 9/16 wrenches. I recommend 2 of them, one being a ratcheting wrench, which makes things a lot easier. Hammer to pound the registration tabs in. Also, Sharpie makes things nice. And something to screw the press down onto the base. Electric is much nicer than just a manual one, but some type of screwdriver. First, we're going to put our pallet arms on. We take station number 2, match it to space number 2. Once the arm is aligned, we're going to take the locating pins and pound them in with a hammer. Once your locating tabs are in, very easy to take your bolts and then simply go around and put all 4 of them in. You start with the nut side out and then the bolt side in. Go around and then tighten them all down. The tabs actually align the press, so I can typically start with the top ones first as far as tightening positions go, and then go around the press accordingly. Once all your pallet arms are on, you want to make sure that the press is secured down to the table. Right now we have this secured to the Riley Hopkins Jr. press card or stand with a screen rack also conveniently underneath it. You don't have to use that, obviously. You can use a table or a bench, but just make sure it's all the way screwed down before you actually go and start tweaking on the press. Now it's screwed down, we're going to take the head and we're going to put the stop bolt in. Make sure the springs are properly attached. Sometimes they fall out during shipping, so if they fall out, if you put the head in the up position, it allows you to reattach the spring. This stop bolt keeps the head in the down or the print position, print ready position. Take the washer off of that, little fluorescent green tube there. Put the bolt through and then tighten this guy down. And this stops the print head from going all the way in the up position. Let's go over some maintenance tips on the Hopkins Jr. So first of all, you have your micro registration plate, which can be loosened and adjusted by adjusting your micro knobs right here. Right here in this plate, you want to make sure this is very lubed. So you can use sewing machine oil, Tri-Flow, some type of lubricant to make sure that's lubed. If it doesn't keep lubed, it gets a lot of lint in there, spray mist, it won't move evenly. So you also, when you're adjusting this, you don't need to adjust it too far down because then you really lose your off contact. So just a small adjustment out allows you to continue to move it, tweak it, use the micros the way they were intended to, and then when you're aligned, lock that down. Behind the screen clamp, you have your adjustments. Directly behind the screen clamp, you have your off contact adjustments. These are adjusted by 9/16 wrenches. Once again, I recommend ratcheting. And then directly behind that, you have your tilt adjustments, which raise and lower the tilt of the screen in the screen clamp. You keep the bottom one of these tightened and the top one you loosen for a tilt adjustment, as you can see here. The center hub of the press also needs lubed every once in a while. You can just use bearing grease for this. This typically doesn't need to be done unless you're using the press a lot. But to do that, you take the shaft off, the shaft cover off, open that up, and then put bearing grease inside of it. Typically, like I said, don't need to do that a whole lot. Let's take a look at the registration gate for a second. First of all, this center point here, this is a preset adjustment at the factory. Never ever touch that. You're going to have a washer that says don't touch on that, but never touch that, okay? Right here are your adjustable black registration bolts. Now these guys you actually adjust because what they do is they hold the press in registration as you put the print head down to print with it. So I put the print head down, it holds it tight right there. Lift it up. So these will wear, and they're designed to wear over time so they're not wearing down your actual print head or your print arm. So as they wear, what you do is you slightly loosen up the set bolt just a little bit and then just crank this down a little bit more and then reset the set bolt. Very, very important the set bolt is set. You don't want them to be too snug because then you're going to be forcing your head into the gate and they could pop out. If they're not snug enough, your head's going to move back and forth and you're going to lose registration from your job. So very easy to adjust that set point. Just adjust it to the appropriate point and then set that set screw or that set bolt so that it doesn't move. Now let's go to make our off contact and tilt adjustments with the press. Now I think the easiest way to do this is by using an off contact plate, which we have right here. The thickness of your off contact plate is the thickness of your desired off contact. So right here we have a 1/16 inch plate. We just used a sheet of aluminum for that. We're going to take a new screen and make sure it's nice and flat, put it in the screen head, or clamp I should say, and then lower that screen clamp. Make sure it's lowered all the way. You want to make sure that your pallet's in the right position. So if your pallet needs to come out a little bit, you take your pallet and make sure that the screen clamp, I like my pallet positions to be right where the top of the screen touches the top of the pallet. So tighten my pallet back down, make sure that's snug in. Whenever you're tightening your pallets or any of these clamps really, you want to make sure that you're not over tightening. Typically I go like a 1/4 turn extra once I feel like finger tight. That way you're not bending the metal on the press or hurting the powder or bending your screens. So once this is in, I'm going to make sure that my screen's tight all the way down. So centered in the press for one thing and then just clamp it all the way down. Once again, finger tight and then maybe another 1/4 turn, finger tight, another 1/4 turn. Then I'm going to loosen all my off contact adjustments. So I'm going to loosen my 2 off contact adjustments. I'm also going to loosen my tilt adjustments. So that way my whole press can move freely, both up and down, off contact right there. So my off contact can go up and down. Make sure they're loosened enough so that you're not sticking. Just push it down like that. And then go ahead, starting with the tilt. First of all, tighten the tilt up and then tighten your off contact up. And you don't want to make too much off contact or just over crank these screws. You want to make sure that you, once again, are going pretty snug and then a 1/4 turn or so after your hand tight. Just a 1/4 turn right there. Also, a very important tip is to make sure that your micros are all the way locked down when you're doing this. If your micros aren't locked down, you're not going to be setting up to a solid press. So once we're all set up now, we'll go ahead and take our off contact plate, see if we accomplish the desired result. And now we have a good 1/16 of an inch off contact right there, achieving our desired off contact result. Once your Riley Hopkins Jr. press is set up, it stays consistent and precise over the course of your screen print production. Also, you'll notice that the pallets and accessories available for this press are also convertible and upgradable to the big Riley Hopkins presses. So when you buy a pallet, you're not just making a one-time investment. You can use that pallet as you grow and expand your business and if you get a bigger press in the future. So check out the Riley Hopkins Jr. press and all the Hopkins accessories available on our website. Thanks a lot for watching and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more awesome screen printing videos.